My name is Marie, and this is Likened Unto Me, my personal scripture journey. We know the story of the stripling warriors, the 2,000 young men that fought with Helaman during the war chapters of the Book of Mormon. They fought because their fathers, who were born Lamanites, had made an oath after being converted to Christ to never take up arms against their brethren again. Now their dads reached a point where they wanted to break this oath. Watching the Nephites suffer to defend them and keep them safe was very hard for them. But Helaman convinced them that it would be too dangerous for their souls to break that promise. So their sons, who did not make that oath, decided to defend their homes, and they asked the prophet Helaman to lead them. And they go to war in the southwest part of the land that Helaman knows needs strengthening, where the Lamanites have taken 4 cities. Now, there are 2 battles recorded in which these young men fought. And I know not everybody loves the war chapters, but stick with me on this because there is a really good point at the end of it. After the first battle, Helaman is pretty worried as soon as it's over and orders an immediate count of all of his sons, as he calls them. But behold, to his great joy, there had not one soul of his 2,000 sons fallen to the earth. Yea, and they had fought as if with the strength of God. Yea, never were men known to have fought with such miraculous strength, and with such mighty power did they fall upon the Lamanites that they did frighten them. And for this cause did the Lamanites deliver themselves up as prisoners of war. Pretty cool. The second battle is a little different, but also kind of the same. After saving the city Cumeni from falling into the hands of the Lamanites again, Helaman once again orders a count of his young men, especially to find the wounded. And it came to pass that there were 200 out of my 2,060 who had fainted because of the loss of blood. Nevertheless, according to the goodness of God and to our great astonishment, and also the joy of our whole army, there was not one soul of them who did perish. Yea, and neither was there one soul among them who had not received many wounds. They were preserved again, but they have all been wounded. But still, a miracle. But the thing I want to point out is that the number is different. In the first battle, Helaman had 2,000 young men that he called his sons. In the second, he has 2,060. There is a tiny little blurb about these extra 60. Helaman marched with the original 2,000 in the 26th year of the reign of the judges, and in the 29th year is when he receives supplies and mentions these extra 60. And it came to pass that in the commencement of the 29th year, we received a supply of provisions, and also an addition to our army from the land of Zarahemla, and from the land round about, to the number of 6,000 men, besides the 60 of the sons of the Ammonites who had come to join their brethren, my little band of 2,000. So it sounds like those 60 could have shown up with that supply of provisions and men, but also maybe not. But somewhere between that first battle and the 29th year, when they have that second battle, they show up. And it seems like they're a little late to the party. But I wonder about them. What is their story? Why were they late? Were they too young? Were they gone when the first group left? Were they unsure or scared? Does it matter? Helaman doesn't seem to think it does. He doesn't say a word about the reason they came later. All he writes is that they came. Also, 60 seems so small compared to the original 2,000 that started. If you look at a picture that contains 2,000 penguins and then look away and look back after 60 more have been added, you're not going to be able to see a difference. But they mattered to Helaman. And as far as we can tell, based on the letter he wrote to Captain Moroni, they were treated no different than the original 2,000. They served and were obedient for as long as they were there. In fact, Helaman is very specific in describing that second battle in his letter to Captain Moroni. He says, "But behold, my little band of 2,060 fought most desperately. Yea, they were firm before the Lamanites, and did administer death unto all those who opposed them. And as the remainder of our army were about to give way before the Lamanites, behold, those 2,060 were firm and undaunted. Yea, and they did obey and observe to perform every word of command with exactness. Yea, and even according to their faith it was done unto them. And I did remember the words which they said unto me, that their mothers had taught them." Helaman specifically writes 2,060, not 2,000. He doesn't round down. Those 60 matter to him. Yes, they came late, maybe for a good reason, but maybe not. But they came, and they were obedient, and they were also spared. I think we can sometimes look down on ourselves or others because we seem late to the game. Our weaknesses can keep us from truly joining up or thinking ourselves worthy of joining the Lord's battalion, as President Nelson says. But just come. No matter how late you think you are, just come and be obedient, exercise your faith, even rely on the faith of others, as these boys did with their mothers. But come. It is not too late. Christ is waiting with open arms to receive you. Thanks for listening. Any quotes or scriptures or stories that I used are cited in the description. This is likened unto me, my personal scripture journey.